You ever get into the car when it's like nice and warm and toasty? I was like, I'm gonna sit in the car and I'll bring my coffee and I'll do this live because, oh, thank you, Melissa. Mwah. Because I was on a walk yesterday and all this information was coming through and I didn't have the time to share yesterday. And I know that what did I title this now? I'm trying to hold on. Oh, the two main fears. Right. So we're all going through a lot of change. We're all going through a lot of life not being the same, like needing to adapt really quickly to things, the way of being, the way of relating with others, how we're getting our food, like, our physical activities have changed. And that can stir up a lot. Hi, Patty. That can stir up a lot in a nervous system. I'm glad you guys are here. Thank you so much for popping in and having some coffee with me. I brought this and I'm in like my comfy fleece that says love on them. So I'm just needing to ground myself for a second. It's like the amount of energy that's like flowing through and that we have available to us for creation, because chaos energy is potent energy for creation. And when a lot of change is happening, it's really it's like your human aspects, right? So we have these ideas of the way life should be. So as this change happens, like your human aspects are like, trying to adjust, right? Because it feels safe when it knows everything that's happening and what's going to happen, right? And so now we've all been in this, like put in this collective, like snow globe shaken around. Our figurines are not glued to the bottom. We're flying all over the place. Hi, Phyllis. And look at my, they do like different colors for like manicure. I just peeled off the nails for those. So I'm still on trend, quarantine trend. And so, the human part gets uncomfortable, and because it likes to just know that everything is the way that it is. It knows how to manage it. And now what's happening is we've been thrown a curveball. We've been put inside this globe and we're like, how do we manage this? And so like we are being asked to make change, but on a collective, but also individually. And so, taking a look at like what is really important to us, like these relationships that we have in our lives, the energy that we've been giving to them, the job, is it something that I really like doing, or have I been, holding myself back, or like, prostituting myself for, very little than what I know I am offering and sharing and have to offer and share. And is it, taking a look at your business and the clients that you're working with, and, what is your message, right? I mean, if you're here to make change and support people in healing, and you have, your life's journey and your knowledge and education can have an impact on others. Are you holding back because you're afraid, or you're feeling like you don't have enough or know enough? And it's like, that's what I'm saying about the change that we're being presented with, is that a lot of the ego stuff is being shed. A lot of the beliefs that you've been told about what life is, right? It's like, we see that it can change very rapidly. So, I kept hearing in what I tune into is, like, what if you were living like you were dying? Like, what if you knew you were dying? First of all, pause. We all are. Like, we all just are. Just when that end date comes is different. But like, if you really thought, and it's so like gloomy to think about, I get it. But, we think like we have like all this time. I mean, can you look back and think about sometimes, like, even with people when I'm working with them with losing weight and whatnot, they're like, oh man, I look back and I thought I was like, you know, unattractive and too heavy then. And I'm just like, wow, yeah, it's like, where have you looked back and said, it was actually wasn't the way that I thought it was. I wish I knew now what I knew then. And this isn't about regrets or trying to rewrite the past. It's an invitation for you to know that you have an inner guidance inside of you already communicating to you, already whispering to you, already giving you hints, already giving you guidance, already like dropping signs and information. But are you just afraid to make that change? Is it and these are the two fears that came through, the two fears of like why you're not making the change that you've likely been getting information and insight and guidance to you, and why you're not taking the actions. So two of them. And if you can understand these two, I'm going to share you the medicine of that, right? Because it's like, if you can understand on an intellectual space of what is happening, and then know that the change actually happens beyond your mind. It happens in the quantum. It happens through your alignment of all of your bodies, right? Your intellect, your mental, your emotional, your physical. And so the two main fears of why you're not making the change and why you're not taking the actions that are coming through are, one, because there's a part of your mind that feels like you need to know exactly what it is. What is that? What is the thing that I'm supposed to be doing? What is the message I'm supposed to be sharing? What is the work I'm meant to be doing? What is the thing? Because if I know the thing, then everything will be okay. And if you've watched any of my messages before, you've heard me say this. It's like, become comfortable in the discomfort. Because life is always changing. And what we're experiencing right now is a very good example of like, we don't always have control over everything that happens. But what we do have control over is how we move through it. And now a lot is being shed of the ego, of the fears, of the limitations, like the veil has been lifted, and you're having more access to who you are really inside as a divine creative being, here as an expression, right? You're not. So if you're finding that you're getting too much in your mind trying to figure out what the thing is, like, drop into your body, drop into your heart. What brings you joy? What brings you pleasure, right? Because it's really about like how you want to be feeling in this life, isn't it? Isn't it about like how you want to feel, whether it is manifest as running a business or in a relationship or owning your home or being free from a home and traveling all over the place? Like, what is the thing in you that is important to you? So the first fear is about needing to know. So, it's like, I need to know what it is. That's the thing that stops you from taking the actions. And then the second fear is needing to know that it's going to work out. So maybe you get some whispers and some inspiration, and you get signs and signals from the universe and your guides and your tarot cards, or you're hearing the world speak back to you about that next step, about doing the thing that feels scary, doing the thing that you don't know if it's going to work out, right? So get okay with knowing it's not going to work out, not knowing if it'll work out or not. Get okay with feeling like being in the fear. My neighbor just pulled in. Fear of failing, right? Be okay with not knowing. Because here's the thing is, like, when these ideas come through, right? When they come through inspiration, when they come through as a channeled message from your own intuition, it's usually a quiet whisper. Your intuition is like a whisper. Fear is like a scream. Fear is like a yell. The ego trying to protect you is like loud. Your intuition, your inner guidance, your message from the from your higher self, my neighbors, that's more quiet. It's quieter. So it's easy to bypass. It's easy to ignore. And then when you have that loud yelling of fear of all the reasons why it won't work out and how you'll look or what will happen if it doesn't work out are louder. But what if you can like step aside, get out of the way, get out of your mind, drop into your body and allow this guidance about what you're meant to do with your relationships, with your health, with your living situation, with your business, with your clients, whatever it is, this change, right? Because that's what this is stirring up for everybody. These loose figurines that we are inside this snow globe are getting a chance to take a look at what is it that I really want to pull back to me. Everything that's being shaken up, what do I want to pull back to me? What do I want to be a part of my life? How do I want to come out of it? Because it's like we've been living like there's infinite time, and in a sense there is. But this is an invitation to not let fears get in your way from listening to that inner guidance. So the medicine is your intuition. Two things, right? I wrote it down. Yeah. Two things to remedy these fears. You are the medicine. Hashtag you are the medicine. It's within you. And that's a lot of what I share in my work is like going and guiding you inside you to clear the clutter, to clear the stories from you hearing your own truth, your own heart, and your own soul, and getting in touch with what's important to you. Because I don't know about you guys, but like I very well-meaning parents wanted me to be in corporate. They wanted me to have a secure corporate job. And I did. And I got there and I was just like, oh, these are like pants that are way too tight and squishy, and the waistband comes up to here. I don't like these pants of corporate America. But that's just me. Like but they wanted the best for me, but I got into it and I was just like, no. And so I had to move through everything that meant for me. Like taking the risks of going into alternative schools that I have, learning about energy work, learning about energy medicine, learning about holistic health, and working with a person as a whole, not just your mind, not just your body, everything, your energy. And as we're advancing into these years, just as fast as technology is advancing, the human experience is advancing, your consciousness, your mindset, these, as you release the veils, release the fears, allow the ego constructs to dissolve, you get more in touch with who you really are as this divine being having this experience. And so medicine, okay, your intuition. So your intuition is your medicine. So not listening to that loud fear voice and getting quiet and tuning in to your own intuitive voice, your inner guidance. And the second piece of medicine around resolving these two fears is being comfortable. It's really about knowing how to work with the energy, knowing how to work with what's being stirred up within you. Because as you're being presented with change, as you're being presented with changes that have to happen pretty quickly, right? Big adjustments that we're all making. And knowing that we're going to come out of the other side of this, what do you want to do in this meantime? Like my friend said today, the hallway. What do you want to do in the hallway? What do you want to do when you don't know what's on the other side? Because the truth is, we really don't know. But where your mindset is, where you're putting your time, energy, and attention is going to determine where you end up, where you go, what unfolds for you. So just to summarize it all, the two fears that hold you back from making the change or taking the action for the change that you've been getting signals for is that you need to know. And what I'm telling you is, like, let go of the need to know what it is, like what you're supposed to do, because I promise you it will come through. You will be guided. The second fear is needing to know it's going to work out. That actually confines the expression of energy and consciousness that wants to move through you. Because if you are just putting, like, it has to be, like, I has to work out exactly like this little circle right here, you're already, like, constricting what is possible. Because, you know, from like the experience of this for me that came through is that I went on a one-way ticket to Colorado. Everything here was in storage. I had a place to stay for 3 weeks only and nowhere to come back to in Connecticut. I had sold my house. I had moved out with somebody. Like, there was, like, I had a place for 3 weeks. That's it. And it worked out for like 7 months. I had to let go of whatever was going to happen on my way to Colorado. I just knew deeply. I didn't have to know if it was going to work out. I just knew deeply that that was the action I needed to take. Okay, finally, the two medicines are: one, moving through these fears, the two medicines are your intuition, so tapping into your own inner knowing. And second being, knowing how to work with the energy and the things that are being stirred up. Because as your ego shedding, as you're dissolving the limitations, there is a physical thing that happens. There's a mental thing that happens. People will start feeling this, like, anxiety, and it's not necessarily anxiety. I actually just posted a video last night on my page about anxiety and its relation to your awakening. Because that's a lot of what a lot of people's discomfort and whatnot is when it on emotions. So, like, overwhelm, depression, fear, anxiety is actually learning how to work with the energy that's moving through you. We're learning how to work with the alchemy that happens when you're going through upgrades, when you're going through your awakening, when you're going through being woke, per se, through ascension. Okay. All right, I'm out. I have